Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I want to share a one cut, two cards video with you. I'm going to be using a lot of scrapbook.com exclusive products in today's video. I know that they've been giving away a lot of free gifts, and so you may have acquired some of these recently with your orders and have been curious or want some ideas for them. And I've already shared an idea with the Snowflake die, and it's going to be a little similar, but I'm going to use that Snowflake die again for those who are interested. I am starting with a background cut. This is a scrapbook.com exclusive digital file, so you can download this instantly. And it's the 'Tis the Season collection. It has the beautiful 'Tis the Season word, which I won't be using. I'm going to be using the background dies. I am in love with the idea of using these digital cut files for backgrounds because cover plate dies or background dies are so expensive and they're only one size and they're only one orientation. But when you get they're only vertical or horizontal. But with the scrapbook.com digital cut files, you get horizontal and vertical and the ability to resize. Plus, it was so much easier to cut it with my scan and cut because I could cut a whole bunch at one time. It took a while, but I could set it and forget it. And it was so much easier to clean up afterwards. Often I would get little pieces stuck in my die. And so then I'd have to poke those all out or poke them out of the die cut piece. But everything just came apart so easily. I'm going to be using a lot of glitter paper in today's card. I love glitter paper at the holidays. This is actually a pack of glitter paper that I purchased on clearance after Christmas last year. I am such a sucker for these when I go into the store, which we're not doing so much right now, but last year I just was ooh, glitter paper pack for 90 cents. Yes, please. And bought 4 of them. It's kind of an addiction. Okay, so I knew I wanted to use the Snowflake die layered on there, and I knew I wanted to use this background as a stencil, but I wasn't quite sure how everything was going to come together just yet. Again, you could do this with a cover plate die. You don't need to have a digital cut file, but using it as a stencil can be a really fun look. And I'm going to use it as a stencil. It's going to get ink on the background, and then I'm going to use that as a design element on the other card. If you didn't want to do that, you could cut an extra one, or you could cut it out of stencil material and make a permanent stencil. And this is something that I haven't quite done on my scan and cut yet. I have all the materials and I know it's possible, so I'll probably share a video with that soon. If you don't know how to cut digital cut files, there are plenty of videos out there, but I did make one myself as well, just so I could, reliably refer you to something. And I'll put that in the video description. I took my stencil brush and some Forest Moss Distress Oxide ink and just kind of went towards mostly the middle. I didn't go all the way out to the edges of all of the, because there's little partial trees, which is not the look that I wanted on my second card. I just kind of wanted to focus in on the middle, and it also created a highlight area for my second card. So now you see I can layer it onto my green glitter cardstock again. I am in love with stencil brushes, but in particular having them sitting on my desk in my Make It by Margot stencil brush holder, because I can just grab one and do a real quick use of ink blending without having to get out a bunch of tools. I wanted to try the scrapbook.com smart glue. I know it's been one of the freebies, so if you guys have been placing an order, it might have been one of the things that you got in your order as the sort of exclusive, and they're very reasonably priced. I'm happy with my Barely Arts glue, but I just, wanted to give something else a try, see if it was any good. It has a fine point, but it doesn't come out the way I would have expected a fine point. It's a little bit of a runnier glue, and it's a tackier glue. So I'm comparing it directly to the Barely Art glue because that is my current favorite and what I would be, if I liked this glue better, that's what I would be replacing, right? But this is a tackier glue, a thinner glue, so it kind of runs out more quickly. You'd have to get used to that. I also found that because it's a more watery glue, it did result in more warping of the paper. It wasn't an issue because of the glitter paper that I was using, but I could see that being a concern. To me, the biggest drawback was the tackiness. However, my understanding after, kind of reading a little bit more about it because I was surprised, was that that tackiness is meant to help you with foiling. So this is not necessarily a glue just meant for gluing per se. It has some other uses. So with that in mind, it's kind of one of those things where like, I don't only use one kind of cardstock, right? Like we use the specialty cardstock for when we want to use ink blending, and then a different one for watercolor, and then a different one for Copic coloring. Not everyone does that, but like a lot of people have cardstocks they like for certain purposes, right? Glue's kind of the same way. It does the trick. It's, again, just a little bit stickier than I need for this purpose. I'm sure there's some other purposes for it. And I'm going to switch back to my Barely Arts glue for the rest of the video. I will say it did stick things to glitter paper, which can be a little bit tricky to do. I decided to go with a red snowflake so that it had a bit more contrast. I cut that out of some of the red glitter paper that was part of the same pack. And then I stamped the sentiment with the same Forest Moss Distress Oxide ink that I used in the background, just to kind of tie them together a little bit more. It's a sentiment from the Lawn Fun set. I also used this last time I used the snowflake, so it's not a very original thing because you've already seen me do it, but you know, don't fix what ain't broke. I'm gonna cut 2 of the snowflake though. I'm gonna cut one out of red glitter paper and one out of Kraft Cardstock, just so that it's a little bit thicker. I find that many of these glitter papers are also really thin and they have a sort of plasticky background to them, which I think is part of how they get it to, you know, be the fine glitter without coming off. Not sure, but they are generally pretty durable, which is nice because of that sort of plasticky background. This Merry and Bright sentiment is a scrapbook.com exclusive that came free with some orders, and that's actually how I got mine because I placed an order on the day that was the freebie. I figured some of you guys might have done that as well and have this one and want to see an idea for it. I really liked how it was delicate and simple, but that also kind of made it a bit challenging to work with. Given how thin all of these lines are, I definitely wanted to switch back to the Barely Arts glue because it really, really works well for those thin lines. It releases just a tiny amount. I'm going to layer the tree background onto some red glitter paper. But in order to do that, I don't want to waste that much red glitter paper. So I'm taking another stitched scallop die, which is what I used to cut out that tree background. And I took the next smallest size. I'm going to cut the center out of the red glitter paper just so that there's less waste. I don't do that very often, like with just plain cardstock, but when I'm going to use glitter cardstock, and again, it's not like I paid that much for this. I told you it was clearance, but I can't stand wasting glitter cardstock. So there you go. Then I will glue on my sentiment. And as you can see there, the fine tip really does the job here for this teeny tiny word, and it actually works pretty quickly and consistently. So I will glue that over the little trees that I created in this white background. I kind of like that it has like a sort of snow look because it's white, but then it has all these like very traditional Christmas colors. So I like red, green, craft, white at Christmas time. All right, that's it for my cards today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I will leave you links to all of the products that I used in the video description below. I'd love for you to leave me a comment. I like chatting with you guys down there. And there's also going to be links to my social media in the video description if you're interested, and some videos here for you to check out at the end. Have an awesome day. Thanks for watching. Bye.